So ABC News is going to fire Terry Moran. ABC News is going to fire Terry Moran after he had worked for ABC News for 28 years. He finally got his big break. He interviews the president, which was quite revealing. He also interviewed him pretty well, pretty good job. He was able to get a lot of information. Donald doesn't understand what the Declaration of Independence means. He also says he's not for sure if he should enforce the Constitution. Terry Moran also pointed out all you have to do is just pick up the phone and you could, get that Abrego Garcia back. Terry Moran did a great job. I remember seeing, Luke Beasley was like, there's a point in the conversation where Donald says, I might, not finish this interview, and Terry was like, oh, we're going to finish it, and then Donald's like, all right, go on, and Luke Beasley was like, oh, Terry. So let's, over a tweet. I thought we're over cancel culture. I thought we're past cancel culture. So let's see what this terrible tweet was about. So he said of Stephen Miller that Stephen Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. You can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. Yeah, he is like the crypt keeper. He is pretty evil. Did you see Jon Stewart's takedown of him when he was talking about how he was, deporting this and self-deporting and all this other? Jon Stewart did a good job of pointing out who this Stephen Miller actually is. And then afterwards, you have a lot of people that's calling, for punishment. They're sitting there saying, cancel him, cancel him, cancel him. You had J.D. Vance and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt denounce Moran, called for him to be punished or fired. Moran took down the post, but he hasn't repudiated. Do you repudiate what you said? I think Stephen Miller is just runs on hatred. If he didn't have any hatred in his heart, then he wouldn't have any reason to propel himself forward. His actions are based upon his hatred. Jesus said to love. Cinderella says love is free. The solution is love. So if you have a official who's all about hatred, well then he's got the entire game wrong. It's interesting that the corporate media goes from being woke, right? Nike was endorsing Kaepernick, and then they go to, anti-woke. Now, we don't want to know the truth. We don't want journalists to confront the politicians, and we definitely don't want the journalists to speak the truth, because Stephen Miller is an absolute evil person. When he was in high school, he had bragged about how the janitors should pick up our trash. We pay them, so if I throw the trash on the floor, then I get to tell the janitor, pick that up. So, yeah, great person there, Mr. Litterbug, Mr. Overly Entitled Dickhead. You had Leavitt said that Moran went on a rampage and said his remarks were unhinged and unacceptable. Said that the White House asked ABC how it planned to hold Moran accountable. Even journalists said that, okay, Jesus. Robbie Suave said that it was censorship adjacent. White House Secretary is trying to pressure ABC News to censor Terry Moran over his admittedly a bit questionable tweet. Okay, wow, Robbie Suave barely makes any kind of comment whatsoever. So, hopefully that's not the last we've seen of Terry Moran. Hopefully he could, get an independent show. Don't let them cancel you, Terry Moran. This also, after 28 years, makes me think of a factory worker who's, worked their entire life and they go to retire so they could collect their pension, but then the company is sold out and then the new company guts out the old company and steals all the pensions of all the workers. So even though you're a good, loyal worker who, worked for the company and put the company, up on a pedestal and helped make the company what it was, the company turns their back upon you in order to make a quick buck and throws you, down the river. Throws you under the bus, down the river, throws you in a well, throws you, up into the sky. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I don't know. Hopefully Terry Moran bounces back and, what he said was over a tweet. Getting fired, you got your 28 years seniority didn't mean shit. I have been with the company for 28 years. Yeah, but I'm young. Who is the fucking head of ABC? You know, who's, you know, when I think, I don't even know who works for ABC, but now it's like, who's the head of this guy? You know, who's the head of fucking ABC? Who would say that it's okay to can, you know, somebody who's been absolutely loyal, you know, forever? Is it this guy, Mike Bellaman? I don't know. I don't know.